It's been almost 2 months, but finally it's time to hit a sports card show. Now, as many of you guys know, had a baby recently, and that meant that I took some time off, but able to get some time today to hit the show. New show up here in Hendersonville. It's the Hendersonville Card Show by the guys that do the Nashville Card Show. So let's check it out and see if we can find anything cool. Let's head on in and see what we can find. This table, super interesting. 99% of their inventory was basketball and football, but they did have some baseball cards, and I managed to find some cool stuff. Love seeing this dealer here. He has $1 up through basically a $7 plus box, but he always has really, really nice inventory. Always find really good deals with him. Now, this situation is really, really important here, where basically building these relationships can get you behind the scenes quite literally. This guy had a bunch of stuff that wasn't out on his table, but was inventory that he had at the show. We were able to work out a really big deal with some stuff that nobody else got to see at the show. Basically, it ended up being $1,000+. Okay, and so we are back from the show. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I did not get as much background footage, negotiation footage as I had hoped. It also, though, was a crazy, crazy good show. So much to the point that I spent, one, way more money than I've ever spent at one of these small shows. We'll get to the numbers in just a second. But also, two, there was so much good stuff that I didn't even get to see the entire show. It was only 100 tables. I only made it about 75% of the way. And next thing that I knew, it was 2 o'clock. The show was shutting down, and I was working on my last big deal of the day. So we picked up some awesome inventory. Now, if you guys see any cards here that you like, anything that you are interested in, as always, these are all going to become part of my Whatnot singles inventory. If you're interested in any of these cards, come on over to Whatnot, scan that QR code that's on the screen, or click the link in the description. That will get you $15 off if you're a new account. Free credit, you can spend it with me, spend it with somebody else. On Whatnot, we do dollar auctions, so many of the cards that you're going to see here are just going to start at $1. 20 seconds and they sell for what they sell for. We also do a ton of buy it now inventory as well. So stuff that is a fixed price, you can come in, make an offer. I also pre-list all of my inventory so you can go 1, 2, 3, 4 shows ahead and see what cards I have coming up. So I try and make it really, really easy for you guys. You can search your favorite team, you can search your favorite player, and see exactly what we've got. It's a lot of fun. I'm generally live on Sundays and Wednesdays, Sunday afternoons and Wednesday nights. So if you want to come see the show, check it out. If you're already on Whatnot, scanning that QR code or clicking the link, we'll just bring you to my page. So would love to see you there. I'm going to talk about the show, but while we're doing that, I'm going to show you all these cards because there was a lot. The one thing in particular that I do want to talk about, just to give you a little preview, is how I decide what cards to buy. But let's get to the actual cards now. All right, so starting off, we've got our Bowman cards. Now, the big thing that I generally try and look for is big names, parallels, numbered cards, things like that. Generally, one of my rules, there are a lot of people on Whatnot, there are a lot of people who do single streams that, I don't know, I guess that they will auction off kind of anything, and I am really particular. I'm only going to grab stuff of prospects that I know, of players who I think have big potential, of cards that I think are actually worth buying myself, in the sense that I therefore then think that somebody else might think that they are also potentially worth buying. That I'm a firm believer in, you want to have cards that people want. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that there's only you can buy the top 5, 10 guys. One of the best parts about baseball is, one, prospects. You know, Leo DeVries, he hasn't done anything in the major leagues yet, obviously. He's a prospect, but could do something. So there's the potential for that, but there's also a lot of guys that just get collected because, you know, people like that team, they like the player, etc. And I think there's a larger collector base in baseball. But my big marker is I just try and find cards that I think people will be interested in. Part of that is knowing what names to buy. Part of that is knowing, you know, when are you willing to buy a base card? As you guys just saw some Jackson Churio first Bowman paper cards. You're generally not going to see much, if any, base in my streams because I think that cards, as I talked about in a recent video that I had, you know, I think that there are so many cards nowadays. I think that base tends to be pretty worthless, if I'm being perfectly honest, unless it's something as special and, you know, as a one-off of a first Bowman. It's one of the things with baseball that a first Bowman, there are hundreds of rookie cards, different parallels, different sets, inserts, etc. There's only one first Bowman. So I do think that first Bowman chromes, first Bowman papers can at least hold some value longer term-ish, but in general, I'm trying to stick to parallels of big name players, things like that. So Bowman is tough because sometimes you grab guys that are maybe good, not great, or are really raw, really young, because as I kind of like to say, you know, sometimes you look at a prospect and you say, you know, they may not be it today, but You can grab this guy, stick his cards in a box, and check in 3-4 years and see where he's at. Some of these guys that are, 16 getting signed out of the Dominican or coming out of Venezuela or whatever, these guys that are just super, super young, you never know. And the only way to find out is wait, but a lot of times you can get those guys for really cheap. And if I can get a cheap numbered card, generally, I'm going to do that. So now we are on to the rookie cards that I grabbed. Again, same concept with rookie cards. Now, I personally like rookie cards better than I like Bowman. I like rookies better than prospects. I think that it's, one, I like that I know that there is more of a track record and proven, ability of these players. But two, I like that there's more variety to collect. Me personally, and that's the beauty of collecting. A lot of people disagree with me there. I grabbed every single Pete Crow Armstrong card that I could find because this man is tearing it up. Found some stuff. Another one that you may have seen some of, but I guarantee you'll see more is Spencer Torkelson. I grabbed a lot of his stuff because, again, he's tearing it up, and these guys that maybe weren't the top player, Torque, he was the first overall draft pick. He was at one point an amazing prospect, but then he didn't really do well. And so his stuff probably went from a value bin to a $2 box to now a $1 box. Like, I found this in a $2 box. Spencer Torkelson, I know it's Bowman Platinum, but numbered out of 25 on a rookie card, like, I guarantee you that somebody put that in a box a year or two ago thinking that Torkelson is just a bust, and he very well may have ended up being that, but ultimately, he's figured it out seemingly, and is he having a great season? So, grabbing his stuff where I can because you're getting it for cheap. Soderstrom, another guy who's like that. The name of the game with value boxes and dollar boxes is finding the diamonds in the rough, spending the time and finding it. And that's why it took me so long at the show, because I try to look at, if I find a good dollar box, if I find a good value box, I am going to look at every single card that they have. And the other thing too, which I kind of talked about and showed you guys in the video, is you also want to always ask if you feel like they've got a good box. Some of the high-end inventory that I got that I'm going to show you guys after I kind of show you the rest of these cards, it was a guy who had a pretty solid dollar box. Nothing crazy, but it was a solid dollar box. And I said, hey, I've got a pretty solid stack here. Do you have anything else? And he says, yeah, I've got a box of lower numbered stuff. And I was like, can I see it? He pulled it out, and I, ended up buying $800 worth of cards off of him, basically. So definitely was really, really solid. That was also really interesting. He was telling me that he had talked to another, whatnot single streamer, etc., who had offered to buy a bunch of stuff off of him. They did a whole, the typical spreadsheet that where somebody types in all their cards into a spreadsheet, they type in the values, and the guy came in and he said, yeah, we weren't, unfortunately, he kind of ghosted me. We weren't able to get a deal done because he was coming in a little bit lower than I wanted to be. And I said, well, how much was he offering? He said he offered him 60%. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to buy stuff at a good clip, but I would love to get stuff at 60%, but that's not fair. If you're buying the type of stuff that he had, and dollar box stuff, yeah, I can hope to get dollar box stuff for, 60, 65%. But if I'm buying stuff that's high quality, $15, $20+ comp wise, which I'll show you guys some of that stuff, I'll call it out when I see it. 60% is ridiculous. I paid 75%, and he said, that I think is much more fair and much more reasonable. And granted, I paid 75% on some of the high end, a George Lombard Jr. first Bowman auto, which you guys will see in a minute. Which that's a card that realistically you probably should pay 85, 90% on. But I also paid 75% on his $2 box, and I paid 75% on his dollar box. So it averaged itself out. He was happy. I was happy. I feel like I got a lot of really, really solid stuff, though. Overall, as I said, the show was super, super good. Also, and this is one of those things, too. This was the first show that I had been to since baby Clever Cuban was born. So that definitely was a plus in that it was, 6 weeks worth of inventory, over 6 weeks, actually, that had built up with some of the more regular dealers that I would see every other week. So they had some time to build up some more quality inventory. But it also just was, there just happened to be a lot of good dealers. I know that Collecticon Orlando was going on as well, which may have brought more of the TCG guys elsewhere, which meant that maybe there was more baseball there. just a thought that I had when talking to some guys who were down at Collecticon Orlando. But a lot of really good stuff. But the other thing too, and I mean, one, it's is the network. Building these relationships. I can't tell you. I mean, I had another card that I will spoil that I grabbed. I grabbed a Will Warren red ink Heritage Rookie Auto. Now that card sells for 100 to 130. I had a stack of probably 50 or 60 cards with a dealer who I deal with all the time. My guess is they were worth, my number that I said that I thought I should pay was $250. He's fun. He always says, he says, type in your number in your calculator and I'm going to type mine and we'll see how close we are. My number was $250. His number was $150. And I said, Dale, that's way too low. The Warren alone is almost that. And he said, let's just split it. $200, that's fine. Totally good with me. I'm not going to, I want to be fair. I'm not going to twist his arm to, come up even more, but I'll gladly tell him, no, I can pay you more than the 150. So building those relationships, building that network, the show was really good. Obviously just with the cards, connecting again with some of the people that I, deal with regularly. It was good to see people. Honestly, it's a lot like you're just going to see your friends, which is really, really fun. It's work for me, but it's fun to go to work, and that's what I love about this job. But it's also great because there's also business opportunities and things like that. Having some conversations about some things that could be really, really big. You guys are going to want to, click that subscribe button, follow along if you aren't already, because we could have some big developments here in the next, few months that could be really, really exciting for the growth of this page, for the growth of what we can do, with our singles auctions, for the growth of the content, for the growth of different offerings, things like that. So be on the lookout for that. Still early days in some of these conversations, but had some very, very nice business conversations with some people that I think could help us grow and unlock some very, very big growth for us. There's going to be some risk like any changes that you make in business, but there's also the big time upside. So it was great to be able to connect with a lot of my friends and people that I connect with in the hobby. It's also just great to buy so many great cards. But as you see here, back to, this is probably going to the PC, Soto, I think that's technically, was Chrome Black out before Heritage? I can't remember. That may have been his first, card in a Mets uniform. Tribute also may have been out before that, but I know it came out, Series 1, he was still in a Yankees uniform. So now we have our relic / autos that are not our higher end ones. I see a vet card that snuck in here. But as you guys see, I'm not grabbing the no-name players. Like that bad box that I had the other day. Nobody wants that stuff. I'm sorry. Nobody wants the retail parallel PCA numbered out of 75. Sick on the game used memorabilia. The City Connect uniform. Super, super cool there. But trying to grab basically cards that I say, if I was to come into a Whatnot room, if I was to come into somebody else's single stream and see these cards, I'd say, that's pretty cool. I would consider bidding on that. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to buy it because somebody else might value it more than me. Bartolo Colon, big sexy. But somebody else might value it more than me, but I'm at least willing to think about it. Like Matt Carpenter, not a Hall of Famer, but I know there are a lot of Cardinals guys that will absolutely like that card. So I really try and focus in on finding cards of just cool players, finding good-looking cards. And I'm going to be honest as well, guys. This might shock you. I don't look at how much somebody is asking for a card in terms of what their price, what their sticker, etc. is on it. I don't look at it because to me, one, I care about my averages, which we've talked about. But all in all today, yesterday, even though it's one video for you guys, all in all yesterday, I spent about $4,250. So really, really, this card is like 3 pounds. It's it's not solid gold, but it is solid metal. I bought 623 cards, and that comes out to an average of $6.81 per card. Now, what's crazy is I bought 35 slabs, I think it was. And those alone, I have comping at close to $2,500. So I think that we did insanely well, especially as you guys are going to start seeing some of this higher end inventory. Really, really nice stuff. This is one of those cards that was out of that guy's, just low numbered case hit, things like that boxes that, yeah, I was able to get that. The Walker Jenkins final draft. These inserts are sick. Or the Alex Bregman Starfractor Orange. Awesome color match. He had some super nice stuff. The George Lombard Jr. auto, the Aqua Spotlights. I'm working on the Spotlights checklist. If you guys have any Spotlights cards you're looking to sell that are the case hits, hit me up. Let me know. It's an interesting one. Sebastian Walcott out of 25. I know it's select. I know that it's not licensed, but it's a good-looking card. This one, again, the beauty of having relationships. I had one of my friends who only does basketball and football really come over and say, hey, I happen to have a baseball card that I got as a part of a big lot that I got. I don't really want it. Come over, just give me some, honestly, name a number and I will take it. So a red auto, I know Stone Russell's not the biggest player, but still red auto. Acuna on the variation, sick card here. That was a part of that lot that guy had, that a lot of these were, that just Gunnar Henderson out of 75, all stuff that is super nice, that was not on the table, that he had, but was not sitting on the table, but because I asked, I was able to grab that. Really cool on the Jeter pinstripe patch from Bronx Legacy. Awesome here. Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter here. And then sweet one here. Mickey Mantle on the triple game use bat relic. I know it's Leaf. I know they're unlicensed, but those still sell. That Mantle's like $100+ card. There's that Will Warren that I told you guys about. Xavier Isaac. And some of these, this is just a Bobby Witt base, but this pile here is my high-end stuff and or stuff that I'm going to look at potentially grading. Soto at a 264. Garrett Cole on the first Bowman Refractor. Just thought that was neat. So definitely was some really, really solid stuff. I think at, $6.82 or 81 cents per card, I think we did really well, especially given some of the slabs and things that you guys are going to see. Montgomery's having an awesome season. Matt Shaw's back up. I know Dylan Cruz got hurt. Arjun Namala, if you guys saw my prospect video, I'm big on him. Soderstrom. Jackson Merrill on the Topps Chrome Update variation. Acuna on the Sapphire Cosmic out of 75. Then some of the thicker one-touch thing cards like that. I love this. I know that the Topps 2020 and Topps Project 70 and Project 100 cards were a little controversial. People thought that they were overdoing it, etc. I wish they would bring them back, because this card, the Project 70s are just, this is the Project 100s, but so cool when you get these artists to come in and do really, really cool baseball cards. I think Topps needs to bring them back. Joey Votto at a 99. That was a PSA 6. Cracked it because I buy so many relic cards that people sent that just have an edge ding, and it's not going to make a difference. Nobody wants it as a high-grade card. Robin Yount. And you crack it out and you put it in a one-touch. That's fine. Those cards honestly shouldn't really be getting graded in general. I don't like grading patch cards because I want to be able to feel the patch. I'm a little kid like that. But hey, Trout out of 99. Ohtani. Again, Project 2020. Just cool. Mark McGwire on the 87 design, but his rookie was the Team USA rookie. Love the throwback there. Frank Thomas on the 521 home run inscription. Super cool. Vladdy on the views from the 6. This one is not licensed, but I thought that it was cool. It's an art card. It was probably $7. So nothing crazy expensive, but definitely some really, really cool cards there. Let me quickly go over and grab our slabs that we grabbed yesterday. Okay, and then our slabs that we grabbed, again, told you I grabbed PCA where I could. Out of 99, that's not our only PCA. Awesome Max Clark on the case hit. Cheap one on Dominguez. Taj Bradley's cheap. Nice Gunner here, PSA 10. It's like $100-ish card. Tommy Hawk, one of the things too, talking about the types of cards that I buy, Tommy Hawk's not a huge prospect. He's got a ton of steals. He's got 40 steals this season, but not a huge prospect, but it's like a $20 card. I'll grab a numbered Bowman auto for that. Trout and Ohtani on the gem. Bazana, again, both these cards had a sticker at $10. Take it. Why not? Somebody will buy that. Braden Montgomery. We got Julio. Vinny P on the logo fractor. Blake Mitchell. This one was a deal. This is why paying attention to baseball really matters, because Drake Baldwin is a solid prospect. Don't get me wrong. But he has come up and he is tearing the cover off the ball right now. I think this had a $220 sticker on that, and I think that the last SGC something did like over that. So I know that I got a really good deal here, and I know that I had some people that were asking about Baldwin the other day. I got a lot of Braves fans that come into the stream, so definitely will do well there. PCA, another one, numbered out of 49 on the color match, rare. Luke Kiesel, that's a pop 1, I believe. Matt McLean, it's cheap. I traded for this Gunner, so I gave 150 cash and a Paul Skeens first Bowman auto for the Gunner. I mean, it's a PSA 10 Topps Chrome Black Gold rookie auto. I thought getting that at a $550, $600 value seems solid. I know the last comp on this is $555, but I think Gunner's a stud, and I think the Orioles are working on that bounce back. So I was excited to, I had that Skeens for a while and it wasn't moving for me. So Caminero on the Sapphire, Langford, another Skeens here. Adley, it's a cheap card. Vinny, this is like a $50 card. Torkelson, again, you know, talking about a guy that's breaking out. This card was a like, oh my goodness, like what could have been Miggy, you know, great auto and you passing the torch to Torkelson, but Torkelson looked like a bust and now he doesn't. So this is a rookie auto for Torque and it's, you know, both on card with Miggy, numbered out of 15. Super, super cool there. Another super cool one, Acuna. So glad he's back and balling. One of those that like one player kind of ruins a card a little bit, but Aaron Judge, it's a Bowman draft card out of 2013. So it is, you know, super early Judge. Wyatt Langford here on the Blue Wave. The Blue Waves are out of 75, PSA 10. Only one sale on that at like 185, I think it is. Goldie on the Gilded, numbered out of 25. This one I got at like a $75 value. And again, value is not what I pay on it, but I felt like I could do well on that. Leo, he's balling right now. Mookie, Gold Interstellar, you know, can't complain there. Gunner on the Spotlights. Clayton Kershaw, not a huge card, but I think it had like a $10 sticker on it. Why not? On a Refractor 10. And then last but not least, Jackson Holiday. So those are all the cards that I bought. Let me just switch on over to just the face cam for some final thoughts. So overall, as I said, super, super great show with grabbing, you know, all these cards at an average of $6.82, you know, 623 cards. I'm very, very pleased. The crazy thing is that's like a week and a half worth of inventory. So the stuff does go really, really quick here. I've got to go through. I've got this all sorted by types. Now I've got to go through and see if anything of the high-end stuff is worth grading. I've got to get it into the correct boxes and work on getting it into streams. I'm trying to stay ahead of streams so that I have things already pulled, you know, numbered, transcribed, etc., so that I can, you know, have some flexibility. It's the worst one. The baby's crying and you've got, you know, got to deal with that, but you got to stream tomorrow and you need to pull everything and get everything together. So trying to be proactive there, trying to be proactive with some of this content. So when I'm filming this, I've still got a few videos that need to come out before you guys will actually see this, but it's a ton of fun. I'm so glad to be back doing shows. We're going to have more shows very, very soon. Some news on that coming soon, probably in our next video. So be on the lookout for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you guys want anything here, come on over to the Whatnot streams. It's a ton of fun. But as always, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. Catch you in the next one.